Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Mr. Andries Maria, President of SASACC and the SASACC National Council, I welcome you to the very first SASACC capping and awards ceremony. Give a very special warm welcome on this cold winter's morning to Mr. Derek Gardner, radio presenter and producer at Radio Sonder Grense, to Mr. Andries Maria, President of SASACC, and his lovely wife, Bodine, all the presidents of the national associations and federations, SASACC Executive Council members, and all our other special guests. Let's welcome them with a round of applause. My name is Mariette Hendricks, and it is my privilege to be your Master of Ceremony today. Let's start off in the appropriate way and open this ceremony with prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the privilege to be here. Among the best of the best, the sport of angling has to offer in South Africa. To recognize and to be recognized. We know that none of this will be possible without your guidance, your protection, and your provision of the resources you bless us with. And therefore, we want to thank you and honor you as the giver and creator of it all. Please bless today's ceremony and grant us your traveling mercies when we depart from here later today. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, any institution is bigger and better and stronger if they take hands with valued partners. SASACC is no exception. And therefore, the SASACC National Council would like to recognize and express their sincere gratitude for their partners for making the effort to join us at this prestigious event today. I would like to start off with Ms. Lorna Bagnall from Columbia PFG Sportswear, Mr. Sean Milligan from SA Sliding Doors for these premises. That's both home to SASACC head office and the lovely premises that's the venue for today's ceremony. Mr. Matt White from Matt White International, Mr. Herman Havengaap from AdReach. He always makes the banners and the boards. Mr. Thijs Venter from Orion AV, who always supports SASACC with audiovisual equipment and services to ensure that all our events are hosted professionally. Thank you, thank you, thank you to each and every one of our valued partners for giving support to the sport of angling and to our members. Let's give them a round of applause. Is to relax and enjoy this event with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the South African anthem. want to call to the front Mr. Andries Maria. Under the leadership of this humble, patient, but phenomenal man, the sport of angling in South Africa soared to new heights. I would also like to call on Mr. John Pledger, the inaugural president of SASACC, to come and give Andries a ceremonial cap of appreciation.
Grace, thank you very much, sir. Really, a hell of a job done. Congratulations. We're very
Thank
proud
you.
of you. Really
Thank
proud.
you.
You've done an unbelievable job for us, fellas. Great appreciation.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. No, it's fine. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Andries, would you please deliver the keynote address?
All the dignitaries that's already been mentioned, and the leadership of SASACC, the National Council members, the presidents of the federations and associations, then our special guests in the front row, and then the Protea anglers and SASACC anglers here present. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a while back that this started as a dream amongst the National Council of SASACC. A lot of thought went into trying to arrange an event of this magnitude or stature, if you like. I think if I remember correctly, it's about 2 years back that we had the initiative of having something as special as this for you guys to enjoy. As we embark on this journey today for a few hours, we are privileged to host this event for the national participants who have dedicated their time, their talent, and excel in the art of angling. Your presence here not only adds prestige to this event, but also serves as an inspiration for our anglers nationwide. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished dignitaries and guests for gracing us with their presence. Thank you. And your support towards our sport helps us immensely to achieve our objectives. In the sport of angling, we have the privilege to forge quite a lot of friendships. And one of the events that we have to foster for our future, hopefully, will be today. Once again, a warm welcome to each and every one of you. Mariette, thank you for standing in. Unfortunately, there's quite a few people that is ill that couldn't attend this function at a late stage. I want to urge you to please share the stories of angling together today at the leisure time which we will have later this afternoon. Let us make today a special moment for everybody. As part of today's ceremony, let's celebrate the diversity within the teams, including different backgrounds, experiences, fishing techniques, illustrating the richness of South Africa and our angling culture that we have. It is a huge honor for me to address you at this prestigious event on behalf of the SASACC National Council. The sport of angling is a multi-coated sport consisting of about 18 disciplines. Derek, please come and sit with us. You can sit here next to Bodine. Derek was absent when we welcomed him. So this is Derek that I speak to on a Saturday morning on Radio Sonnegrense. Derek, thank you for taking the time to be with us. We really appreciate it. He had to run from his program this morning, finishing up to be on time. Thank you very much. Our 18 disciplines gets practiced within the 8 national federations that we have. And today you would have seen what it entails, all the blazers that we have within angling. We have a huge community, a huge family. Our sport is being enjoyed in the 9 provinces that we have in South Africa. And based on our membership, we are represented in 55 of the districts in South Africa. So we really have a national footprint in terms of a sport where we practice it all over the country. Ladies and gentlemen, the SASACC National Council participated in a systemic leadership program under the leadership of Matt White. I think we started in about 2019, just there where COVID hit us. And during that process, the National Council decided that we would like to evolve to become the best confederation in Africa. And part of this, there were quite a few objectives that we set that we would like to achieve, and obviously that with it came a lot of tasks. And today was one of those objectives that we said we would like to achieve as part of promoting our sport to a professional run sport by amateurs and volunteers. An outflow from this vision of SASACC, the National Council developed a strategy and objectives. Yes, we might not meet all of them all the time, but we damn are trying to meet them. This saw also the adoption of the awarding of the ceremonial caps that you will be receiving today. We followed suit, and I'd like to recognize that the initiative that was in SATSA for many years, and obviously in the rugby community, it's also being used for many years. But we never had something like that. And the National Council said that we should embrace that and also create a culture within our sport in terms of having a formal ceremony where we can recognize our anglers and their achievements. So the cap that you will receive today, for the guest also, it's quite a unique cap. It's yours and yours only. It's got your number on, your number of issue when it was issued from the first colors that we issued from Springbok colors going to the later years. So there's a number on the side of the cap, and that is your number. It will never be used by anybody else, and it's hopefully your size. Like some of us must stop eat, otherwise your head won't fit. To the partners of our sport who are present here today, and those who could not be here today, on behalf of the SASACC National Council, I would like to thank each one of you for the contributions that you make towards our sport. And I know that we may not give enough back in thanks for that, but know in our hearts that we really appreciate the support given to our sport. Without those sponsorship, it will be very difficult to reach the objectives that we have in the sport. Please enjoy the ceremony with us. I thank you. And since the time that we've made the decision in going forward with this function, and also awarding the caps, we've lost a few anglers. And we had our National Council meeting yesterday. I think we lost 10 anglers, if I remember correctly, that passed away. So let us just give a moment of silence. Thank you. There are people that we would like to recognize, and obviously they can't be here because they've passed away. And then we decided that we nonetheless want to continue to do that as well, even though they're not present here. So outside of the teams capping, we also have some special caps that we would like to do prior to starting with the teams. And the reason for this is we're very bad at recognizing people. And I know it's a general statement, but we tend to do that. We tend to forget those who were here before us. And we tend to forget that there will be others after us. And we wanted to use this opportunity to recognize some of those special individuals who has made a difference in our sport in the past. We know that some were here for a short while and others were here for a long while. A lot of people that work behind the scenes that you may never have known or knew that that work has been done by somebody. And I'd like to start off and ask Mr. John Pledger to please join me on the stage, Uncle. Uncle John was a while back the president of SASACC, as you've heard. He made a lot of work opening the forest for us so that we can unite as different federations into one organization. And as far as I know, I think you're still involved in Northern Cape, or Griquas, I think you call it, and the Deep Sea Association of Griquas. Uncle John, for the work that you've done for the sport of angling, we thank you.
Years ago, we were forced into opening SASACC. This was done by the Sports Commission, and I ended up taking over the reins for 9 years in its infancy. And I just cannot believe the strides that have been made under the directorship of both Michael Grusky and you. It's unbelievable. I'm really impressed, and I think that a great show of applause for the way we've gone ahead, especially to you, Andries. I think it's well worth a great round of applause.
Then I'd like to ask Johan van Heeren to please come and join me up front. Johan. In the Freshwater Federation, we had a leader for many years. I can't remember how long. Des van Jaarsveld used to be the previous president of the Freshwater Federation. And we had him booked flight tickets, but unfortunately they fell sick, both him and his wife, with, I think it's swine flu. I'm not really sure. And she phoned me, I think it was on Wednesday, to tell me that they can unfortunately not be here today. And they feel so sorry. So I think Des was part of the Springbok era, Jan. Yeah. So he still participated and represented our country with the Springbok colours. And he headed the Freshwater Federation after the establishment, taking over the range and also growing the Freshwater Federation to what it is at the moment. And then in his absence, Des, thank you. Margriet, will you please join me? Margriet used to be the president of the Art Lure Association. And as I mentioned now with Des, there was also people in the Art Lure fraternity that made deep strides in also developing and fostering the Art Lure Association, and specifically the discipline. It's one of the smaller disciplines that we have, but nonetheless, they are very committed in what they do. They like to catch those small species that we use for bait sometimes. But they enjoy it, so all to their own. But Umreni Sada is currently also not healthy. He's very ill at the moment. So he could unfortunately not also attend this ceremony. And we would like to also recognize Umreni for the work that he's done for many years in the fraternity of the Art Lure environment. I know that he still manufactures some bait that are sold in the tackle shops, or under his name still. So he made very big differences in the sport, and as an administrator and also as a participant, and we would like to recognize him in his absence by also awarding his cap. Thank you, Margriet. Gert Harting to please join me up front. Gert Harting, for those who are not well known with the Light Tackle Boat Association, has been there for many years. I'm sure just after his birth he was there, and he's still working and involved there. For many, many years he's been on their council and on their board, working in the Light Tackle Boat Association. And in the absence of Danny Reid, we would like to acknowledge what he did for the sport. Danny is unfortunately still ill, if I remember correctly, very ill. We also wanted to have him present, but he cannot travel. It's not healthy for him to do that. But he made a big difference in the administration, the organization, the founding, and the management of the Light Tackle Boat Association. So, in the absence of Danny Reid, we thank you. You will see that when Danny's getting a Springbok, just hold that up first, Gert. A proper Springbok logo as it was used and still used. And Chris, Sean, if you please join me up front. In the Deep Sea Association, as well as on the SASACC Council, Heimi Stein has been there for many years. I think he's 95, 96, somewhere thereabout. And he finished yesterday out of the last position on the National Council of SASACC. He's been there for many years. He served on the International Confederations board for many years, representing the junior section as a vice president of CIPS, and also involved in SATSA structures and participation. I think he got Springbok colors that time. Yeah. Many, many, many years ago. And Heimi also had to cancel his flight because of illness. He also could not join us today. The doctor said no, he is not allowed to travel. So in his absence, we'd like to acknowledge Heimi Stein. Thank you, Chris. Goodness. Jan, will you join me again, please? Yes, Uncle Trevor Spencer, will you join us, please? So Uncle Trevor was a participant, a team manager, an angler, an administrator. For many, many years, he used to be the international events coordinator for SAFBAF. And as I said, I found him there, and he even made a joke to us. He said, I've been at so many of your functions, I never got something in English. So Uncle Trevor, today, it's in English for you in recognition of what you did for the sport. And I'd like to ask Glenn Ford to please join us up front. So Glenn was involved, obviously, in the participation part of angling and also in the administration part of it, especially within the Gauteng province. Glenn, thank you what you did for the sport. To Spinks van Heeren to please join us. Spinks has been involved for many, many years. He often likes to tell angling stories of national championships that happened in Cape Town where they had to stand in the water. So it's a long, long, long time that he's been participating in the sport of freshwater angling. And then as an administrator, he's been in various positions on the National Council of SAFBAF. And at this stage, if you want to know anything about the ranking list and points, that's him. If you want to blame somebody, that's him. Spinks, thank you for the efforts that you make in terms of the work that you do for SAFBAF. Michael Grasky, if you would like to join us. I think you were the treasurer with Uncle John, and then things changed as time go past. And Michael, we want to thank you for what you did in the work that you did as a treasurer and the president of SASACC, and also on the lower levels. You've been involved in the provincial activities management and participation. If I remember correctly, you started as a junior, getting colours, going onwards, and the time to recognize the members of the SASACC National Council that are here present, that are filling executive positions and not necessarily in teams. And I'd like to ask them to please join me up front. Firstly, Vice President Janus Wasserman, Mr. Nish Ibrahim, the Development and Transformation Officer, Mr. Bernard Venter, the Freshwater Conservation Officer, and then Margriet Coetzee, the Secretary, up to yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, the leadership of SASACC is not just resting on one federation. We are being represented by various federations to make sure that we have a balanced decision-making process. So there's SATSA members, there's ARTLER members, there's members from BAS, whether we like it or not, they're also there. So we try to maintain that level of objectivity that when we fill these positions and we literally put the hat on of SASACC, that we think and decide what is good for the sport of angling. Yes, it might not always suit your privileges or your preferences, but we try to make it the best decisions for the sport, and these are the leaders that are involved with it, and we recognize you for the work that you do. Thank you very much. Janus, jy's gelukkig eerste verby. Baie dankie vir die werk wat jy doen, hoor. Hy pas wragtig. Thank you. Thank you for the work that you do for us. Thank you. You need to grow into it. Dankie vir die werk wat jy doen, Bernard, hoor. Daar sê ek hoe mooi sit hy. Dankie vir die werk wat jy doen. Thank you. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. This is not part of the deal, but Andre said something that I just had to say. He says, these are our leaders, and we are only as good as our leader. And if there's anyone that's got the heart and soul of a sport, that's passionate, that's unwaveringly committed and dedicated, starting at 4 a.m. this morning, leaving here at 7 p.m. last night. I'm not sure about Mike and Elaine, but since I met Andres 2.5 to 3 years ago, he's been an inspiration to every sporting pro-tier anglers that has come along. And everyone I speak to, those that don't know him, you've got to get to know this guy. Okay, he's incredible. I don't want to take up too much of my time. My check's in the mail.
Okay, very good. Care of it. I travel a lot with Mike, and Mike travel a lot with the teams, even though he's not an angler. He likes to sleep on the boat, but he doesn't like to fish on the boat. So he likes to be there, be involved, but not physically picking up a rod. And I don't know of any person that are doing so much for the sport as a non-participant, never competed competitively, but committed. Yeah. And obviously with Mike, there comes a little bit of a advantage, and that's Greg that always goes with us. And Greg has the ability to represent the nation in such a way that he helps us to make friends, in such a way that he gives hugs. And when we have congresses, you would easily find a president of the Spanish Federation coming and first greeting Greg and taking a photo again, and then he'll come and greet me and Mike. And that's the way it works. And we're okay with that. because we know that relationship is a South African relationship. We all work together with it. And with Greg's enjoyment of traveling with the teams, yes, he goes with the Protea teams and he's always with them and supporting them to the best of his abilities. And for that, we're very grateful. And we would like to give Greg also his cap. So Greg, please come and join me so that we can cap you, my buddy. Here we are. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Greg.